Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call, please.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Here.
Councilman McCarthy.
Here.
Councilman Wareheim.
Here.
Councilman Creighton.
Here.
And Councilwoman Noah.
Yes, here.
Sitting as a Board of Water Commissioners, the Board of Water Commissioners to authorize approval of the minutes of May 22nd, 2014. Transfers from the agenda items number 2, 4, and 5, an increase in amount of $18,000 as per number 4.
Councilwoman Noah.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. Which one is on here? Get rid of it. Okay,
Forget about this.
I know there's a site plan secret.
So they have to, yeah. We get the secret first. This is the one that's not on.
We reconvened as a town board. On the public hearings, the town board to consider town's entry onto certain real property located at 153 Alder Drive in Kings Park. Said property reputed owned by the estate of James Vita for the purpose of removing the accumulation of rubbish and debris, tall grass, etc., as per violation of Chapter 221 of the Smithtown Code.
Simon, Assistant Town Attorney for the Town of Smithtown. The purpose of today's public hearing, number 1, is the town to consider entry upon the property situate at 153 Alder Drive, Kings Park, New York,
I need you to speak into the mic. Thank you.
reputedly owned by the estate of James Vita for the purpose of removing all accumulated rubbish and debris, tall grass and weeds, overgrown vegetation, and bamboo within 10 feet of the subject property boundaries, all in violation of Chapter 221 of the Smithtown Town Code. It is worth noting that the Public Safety Department issued 3 separate summonses to the estate for these violations. Those summonses were returnable in district court this morning for the first time, and there was no appearance by anybody on the estate's behalf.
Counsel, you need to take the mic out because it's very difficult to hear you.
Maybe that's not working either.
Yeah, there it goes.
That's working. Can you take it out?
Sure.
There you go. Okay. Are you completed? Your
Yes,
statement?
Supervisor, that's
Okay,
it.
does anybody wish to be heard?
Yes, there is, Supervisor, right there. One.
Yes, okay. James McGovern wishes to be heard on this issue? Please.
I was the one that started the...
Okay, would you
I'm
take
sorry,
that mic out, sir? Otherwise, we won't hear you.
I was the one that started this a couple of years ago, trying to get this house cleaned up. There's raccoons, there's cats running all over the property. Bamboo has encroached my property by at least 25 to 30 feet. As I said, I've been trying for 2 years to have the town do something about it. They issued summonses, nothing's happened. I'd like to see this cleaned up, so I can't walk on my lawn in bare feet because of the bamboo coming through my lawn.
Okay?
I'd like that remedied, and it's
Well-
no fault of my own or my family's that we can't do that.
Okay, I believe after 30 days, we will enter that property and clean it up.
Now, when you say 10 feet within the property boundaries, does that include cleaning up my property that's been inundated with the bamboo?
I don't think so, but we'll have the town attorney address it if he can.
This would only authorize us to clean up the actual property itself.
But not to overflow onto my property?
No.
Thank you.
I move to close the hearing.
Second.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah.
Yes.
Under correspondence, this is the first reading for Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce, Wisconsin Day, second reading for the Kings Park High School Homecoming Parade, and for the Comac Volunteer Ambulance 5K Run Walk. Anybody wish to be heard for or against those? We'll move on. Town Board to authorize the clerk to advertise for public hearing to be held at the Canataro Senior Citizen Center on the 19th day of June to consider Town Board's own motion to amend the zoning of the light industry zone parcels in the Hopog Industrial Park by establishing an overlay district comprising said LI zone parcels pursuant to Town Code Section 322-348.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Creighton,
Yes.
Councilman Wareham,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. Town Board to award the following bids and authorize the purchase of goods and services. A bid for masonry supplies to Elm Transit Mix, All Island Mason Supply, Barrasso and Sons Contractors Market, and Century Building Supplies as per the bid of May 15th.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Creighton,
Yes.
Councilman Wareham,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes, Town Board to authorize the clerk to advertise for the following requests for proposals to be returned to the Town of Smithtown Purchasing Department regarding reporting services for planning and Board of Zoning Appeal meetings.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Creighton,
Yes.
Councilman Wareham,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes, Town Board, if this due study and deliberation of the record to issue a secret and negative declaration in the following matters. Application for site plan approval by 325 Kennedy LLC for LNK dated May 22nd.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Creighton,
Yes.
Councilman Wareham,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. Town Board to approve the following minutes of Tuesday, May 6, 2014. Clerk to issue parade walk permit to the Comac Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Clerk to issue parade walk permit to Kings Park High School. Joseph Laura Feast of the Building Department to attend an asbestos inspector course. Retain the services of Campolo, Middleton, and McCormick. The Highway Department to purchase 6 cubic foot cement mixer. The Highway Department to purchase a wheel balancer with truck mounting kit. 3 employees in the Town Attorney's Office, McGibney, Tahada, and Babnick, to participate in the Lorman Education Services webinars on strategies for locating people online. The Town Board to authorize the Planning Director to apply for funding from New York State Cleaner Greener Communities in the amount of $187,500 and to authorize a 25% matching funds. Town Board to support an application for LIGHC for outreach project to promote renewable energy use and to authorize a contribution in an amount of up to $30,000 per year for 3 years. Town Board to support the application of the LIGHC for funding from the New York State Cleaner Greener Communities Program and sustainable projects for this project, and to authorize contributions in the amount of $30,000 to be included in the required cost share to be determined based on results of a feasibility study.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Creighton,
Yes.
Councilman Wareham,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
And number 5, the town board to authorize the acceptance of the following: a donation of a park bench as per 5A, 5B, donation of an evergreen tree as per 5A and B of the agenda.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilman Creighton,
Yes.
Councilman Wareham,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
It's going to be withdrawn.
Took it out?
I think so. Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Number 6, the town board to authorize the controller to execute the following transfers: 6A through E, transfer for operating expense of $200, transfer of contingency of $20,000. C, transfer of contingency in amount of $200,000, transfer of account in the amount of $500,000, the amount of $50,000, and that's transfer in the account of for $600, and
That's it.
that's it.
Councilwoman Noack,
Hold on one second.
Councilman
Hold
Creighton,
on one second.
Which
No
one?
on D, yes, no yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Uh, No on D, yes on everything else.
Yeah, no.
Councilman Creighton, no. Councilman
Oh,
Wareham?
D, yes
Yeah.
on everything else.
Councilman Wareham?
Yes on A, B, C, and E, no on D.
Councilman McCarthy?
No on D, yes on the balance.
And Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Number 7, the town board to authorize supervisors to execute the form and the following approved by the town attorney, agreement with Springbrook Software.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes,
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Number 8, the town board to authorize the release of the following as per 8A, check of the printed agenda.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
yes,
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Number 9, the town board to approve the following personnel matters as per 9A through K, a part-time appointment, a full-time appointment, C, full-time appointment, D, seasonal appointments for recreation, E, seasonal appointment for the recreation, F, seasonal appointments and reappointment for the Department of Public Safety, G, rescind the resolution 2014-521, H, salary change, seasonal appointment, and salary changes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
yes,
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes, that concludes resolutions that are on the agenda. Additional resolutions. Town Board to authorize the supervisor to execute addendums to a concession agreement with Mr. Softy of Smithtown - David Keller regarding vending machines in town parks.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
yes,
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes. Town Board to state its support for an application by the Kings Park Chamber of Commerce and the Kings Park Civic Association for a downtown revitalization grant from Suffolk County in the amount of $60,000. And authorize the supervisor to sign any and all necessary documents, including an intermunicipal agreement on a form approved by the town attorney.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
yes,
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes. Okay, we're now sitting as a Board of Site Plan Review, and the Town Board to conditionally approve site plan number 1325 by LNK International for proposed parking lot reconstruction and expansion.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
yes,
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
And the minutes of May 6, 2014.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
yes,
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Wishing to be heard, Mary Beth Siskin. By the way, we apologize for lack of air conditioning. The air conditioning broke down this morning. It'll be repaired later this afternoon, which is too late for all of us.
Good afternoon, Supervisor Vecchio and the Town Board. I'm Mary Beth Siskin, and I am coming to speak to you about two items. I'm coming to find out what the progress is in urging New York State DOT to make improvements on Route 25 between Route 111 and Route 347. It was almost a year ago that DOT canceled the widening project. So I'm coming to publicly ask for where things stand. Also, I'm following up on a letter that I wrote to you the end of March. I sent it by U.S. mail to Supervisor Vecchio. I asked him to share it with all board members as well as Mr. Crawley. And to date, I've not heard anything. I'm asking you to think outside the box. In my letter to you about the east-west stretch of Howell Drive, there have been a number of accidents and I referred to one. I referred to one that happened New Year's Eve, and I'm suggesting that the current signage is not sufficient. I'm suggesting rumble strips, humps, bumps, tables. No, not throwing a picnic table in the street, but apparently there is a technique. Tables, I saw it in Florida. So I'm asking you to think outside the box and to consider the situation. Situations have happened along Franklin and Howell. The New Year's Eve did not result in any bodily harm, but I wonder that the town board would keep hoping that nothing is going to happen along this stretch that could involve bodily harm. Also, I'm suggesting that you consider electronic monitoring of stop signs at certain troublesome intersections. I would like to suggest Franklin and Howell Drives and Montclair Avenue and Rutherford as the first two candidates for such monitoring.
Mrs. Siskin, can you finish up?
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
I would urge you to set up meetings with agencies you do not directly control and invite some of us concerned citizens to help you with that discussion. For example, Suffolk County Police Department and New York State Department of Transportation. Okay, I have
Okay.
some copies
Okay,
that I
you can
can
bring 'em up.
hand to you.
Thank you. Tom Unverzat?
I'll just pass them down.
Oh, okay.
I'm here on behalf of the issues still going on with the KPE property. KPE continues to violate the TRO, but nothing gets done. They have double the amount of heavy industrial equipment on site than they had from 6 years ago. There's a new pile of crushed stone that's now in the back pit, which has been hidden from view and either has been crushed on the site or brought in. I personally witnessed the tractor trailer of compost being delivered roughly about 10 days ago. I took the video and was harassed trying to do so. I did contact public safety. We need to know the next step. They don't care about town code, the environment, residents, or the courts. They now are applying for a zone change, and for what? Houses? I doubt it. I think this is going to be a license to sand mine under the site prep and grade clause. I don't want what's going to happen here, what's actually currently going on in the Prisco area. The current TRO is nothing more than a license to conduct business as usual. Jesco is another nonstop violator who hasn't complied with the TRO, nor has he paid his property taxes for years. Why hasn't the town entered this property like it does other businesses or residential properties? The town needs to shut down the facility and take over this property. On a side note, as far as reliable tree, I think that the bid and accepting the bid is a total disgrace and a slap in the face of the residents. This company is not, nor when it submitted this bid, has been in compliance with the town of Smithtown. I know that people had brought up the issue of a C of O as far as a property. I think it was kind of taken out of context. I think it was actually the issue as far as not being in full compliance with the town. Any company submitting a bid for town tax dollars should be in full, not partial compliance with the town of Smithtown. What's next? Is Toby Carlson going to get a contract with the town to go ahead and take in compost? I think that as far as the reliable, Jesco, KPE, I think they all have something in common. I think enough's enough, and I think the town needs to step up the pace here a little bit as far as the TRO and stop backpedaling. Thank you.
Thank you. Did they violate that TRO? Or you need to speak in the mic.
Supervisor, members of the board, our office is aware that I believe it was maybe on May 23rd, KPE took a dump truck full or a trailer load full of material from the site, and the issue was that neither our office nor the Public Safety Department received the requisite notice pursuant to the court order. We spoke to the other lawyer. Apparently, there was an administrative error, and we put them on notice that if it happened again, we'd bring them back to the judge.
But why wouldn't you bring that back to the judge now?
Supervisor, in the past, we've gone to court on an administrative violation. I think last time it happened, it was the same thing. They had made a mistake with their notice, and the court, of course, the defendant said, well, it was administrative problem. We're sorry, we won't do it again. We are trying to take stuff off the site, which is what we think the residents would want, and the court tends to agree with them on a violation such as taking something off the site and not having the requisite notice sent to us.
Okay, thank you. You can. Come up to the microphone.
I do understand that the TRO is to allow them to take decorative rock and whatnot and maybe some equipment off-site, which would be great if they had done that. But the problem is double the amount of heavy industrial equipment has been brought on the site from 6 months ago. I mean, from our task force, we have an inventory of what it was then and what it was now. And as far as that tractor trailer, it wasn't a dump truck. It was a full-fledged walking floor tractor trailer that I took a video of, and that material was actually being brought onto the site. It wasn't being moved around from the site, and it was fresh.
Okay. If you have a videotape of that, maybe you might supply it to us?
Okay.
Thank you. Patricia McGovern. Is it mine?
Good afternoon, Supervisor Vecchio and Town Board members. I hope you've had an opportunity to look at the email that I sent each and every one of you along with the map of our area. I live on St. James Avenue South and of the Montclair position. It was based on concerns voiced by the Arlington residents at the last board meeting about the increase of traffic if Montclair Avenue had been closed. And I basically just want to say that the traffic counts were misleading as reported to the newspapers by the Safety Department, making it seem as if Montclair was closed, that the 1,500 cars reported as using Montclair would be additional cars diverted to Arlington. And this is not true. If you look at the map, you will notice that all the cars that come onto Montclair end at Rutherford and Montclair, because Montclair is actually a dead-end block. So once they come up, they get onto Rutherford, they make the right-hand turn, they go past all of our community streets, they go to Arlington, which is the next direct connector to them, and then they go onto Arlington. And that takes them back into all other sorts of routes in the back. If you look at the map, it is clear that closing Montclair will not increase the traffic on Arlington, since all the traffic on Montclair coming or going at one point traverses Arlington. We understand that these routes are being used as a shortcut, and not only when Middle Country is congested, because we see this traffic on an all-day basis. It's actually so that the drivers can not go to the light at Arlington. They can cut through our neighborhood and save themselves 2 minutes of traveling time by just zipping down there. At the last meeting, I heard one person comment that everyone would like to live in a cul-de-sac. Well, for those of us who wanted to move into this area, residing on a street such as Arlington with the expectation that as a direct connector to Middle Country, along with light industrial commercial businesses, and with access to other connector streets, a higher volume of traffic would be accepted, was not an option. Instead, we purchased homes on dead-end streets with Rutherford as our main connector, which is also a dead end. And although there were homes available that were priced lower, we decided to go with the higher priced option to be able to be into a nice, quiet, quaint neighborhood. The speeding and other violations that all the roads in this area are experiencing is a very real and great concern. Per Supervisor Vecchio's suggestion, I have contacted Suffolk County Executive Steve Ballone in regards to the lack of cooperation we are receiving from local law enforcement. I'm also attending a meeting this evening at the Wisconsin Library where Inspector Murphy is meeting with concerned citizens regarding neighborhood issues. Please note that this is not just about those families that live on Montclair north of Rutherford, but also the 80-plus families who purchased their homes in this area on these dead-end streets for the same reasons as witnessed by the signed petition requesting the closing. Please let our community know that the safety, security, and way of life for our families is more important than those who want to save 2 minutes of traveling time. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Sconzo.
Hello, Mr. Vecchio, members of the board. My name is Kevin Sconzo. I live at 144 Montclair Avenue. I'm here with concerns about closing Montclair Avenue. I'd like to see it closed. I have some newspaper articles I'd like to read to you. I just highlighted them. I will not use people's names because most of the people in these articles are now dead due to high-speed traffic accidents. Most of the people in the articles range from 18 to 27. Just the other day in Shirley, 62-year-old was hit mowing her lawn. I'm sure all of you heard of that 2 days ago. They've been asking the town to put four-way stop signs for 10 years. The town did nothing. We're asking for Montclair Avenue to be closed before this happens to one of us. Teen driver is charged with 3 homicides. A teen driver from Smithtown was charged with criminally negligent homicide. Stephen, 17, pled guilty to homicide. Allegedly, he was driving fast as 87 miles an hour when he lost control of his 2004 Honda Civic near Old Willets Path in Smithtown and veered to oncoming traffic. He hit a 2004 Honda minivan driven by a mother. Driving this car at a rate of speed so fast that he lost control of the vehicle. 2 of his friends and 1 of the kids in the passenger's car are dead because of that. Teen killed in deadly car accident on Long Island. Harpog. Police are investigating a deadly car accident on Long Island that killed 16-year-old boy. The 18-year-old driver, identified as Jonathan, lost control of a 2002 Nissan Altima and slammed into a tree Monday at midnight. Nesconset man killed in high-speed crash. Matthew, 26 of Nesconset, was traveling at a high rate of speed when his vehicle struck a curb and hit 2 traffic signs and a tree. Matthew was partially ejected from the vehicle and pronounced dead at the scene. Speeding was a factor in more than half of the fatal crashes with teens behind the wheel. Among crashes attributed to critical teen drivers, 21% serious teen driver crash was due to driving too fast for road conditions. Excessive speed is a factor in 1/3 of all fatal accidents. Young drivers under 30 years of age are more likely to speed than other drivers. Of all drivers involved in fatal crashes, young males are most likely to speed. The older you get, the less likely you are to speed. 4 teens killed in a horrific car crash on Long Island. Joseph lost control of a 2012 Subaru Impreza that his family says his parents just bought him after he failed to negotiate a curb. The car, which Joseph had been given for graduation early from Richmond High, split into 2 pieces and tossed the teens out of the car like rag dolls. Speed teen and killed Christmas BMW. A Long Island teen was killed in a horrific wreck, left 2 of his friends critically injured with speed in a BMW his parents brought from Christmas despite checking the driving records. The impact of the accident Tuesday afternoon was so violent, the aspiring teen's car, which was going 0 to 60 in around 6 seconds, finally came to rest after hitting a tree 150 feet from the intersection.
You got much more to go?
I'll finish up right now.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Vecchio and members of the board, it's not only about my kids that play on the block, it's about your kids, your grandkids that are driving cars. I'm sure you all have kids that drive at high rates of speed. We're looking to close Montclair Avenue, not so much for traffic issues, but for the speeding issues. Since Montclair Avenue has been open, 11:30 last night, they've been drag racing again up and down. Multiple calls to police, they do nothing. We understand you have no power over the police, but we consider you closing Montclair Avenue to save some people's lives. Thank you.
Are you going to attend that meeting tonight at the library?
Yeah, I just found out about
Okay. Good, thank you. Robert Demosthenes?
Good afternoon, members of the town board and Supervisor Vecchio. I have a few items I would like to discuss this afternoon. But before I start on that, just last Thursday night, as an example of Mr. Sconzo, I was helping a resident do some work at his house at 135 Montclair, and we happened to have a high-performance Mustang GT come down the road at well over 80 miles an hour, make a U-turn at the intersection. I walked out into the street and stopped that vehicle. That vehicle had 2 people in their mid-20s in that car test driving it from Subaru with no one from Subaru, okay? The attitude was, ha, 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 yeah, we're only doing 30 miles an hour. That's the kind of stuff that we're putting up with down there. Besides that, and I'm going to start on with what I have to say, street signage. First of all, thank you for the additional street signage at 30 miles an hour on Montclair, okay? It still doesn't work. People don't read them. As far as the no trucks over 2.5 tons, I think traffic and safety really needs to look where they placed them. Presently, there is one at both ends of Montclair. Does that make sense? I don't think so, since they indicate no trucks into the industrial area, not the residential area. Maybe a better place would be both sides of the road for northern traffic after the last industrial driveway. This then would indicate no trucks into the residential neighborhood. This should also be done on Arlington going north after the fuel oil business. Dead end signs and no outlets should be posted on both sides of the road for St. James Avenue South, Jackson Avenue South, and Montclair Avenue, not just one side, okay? Presently, there's just a, dead end. There should be no outlet. These are the dead end streets themselves, okay? Why is there a 15-mile-an-hour kids playing sign, 15 miles an hour kids playing sign on Jackson Avenue South and none on Montclair and St. James Avenue South? These are on the dead end sides. This leads me to the traffic safety study. Is there a possibility we could see the raw data that was collected? Not that I don't trust them, but if signage is inconsistent, then maybe the data has flaws. I know for a fact that the full first week, at least 75% of all the cars traveling on Montclair had to turn around and leave because they did not read any signs. I hope that the Traffic and Safety Department didn't use this as data. I would also like you to think about the comments made by the residents of Arlington when they stated they were afraid they would experience more traffic on their street. Common sense tells you that to get to Montclair, you have to travel down Arlington. And if you are traveling in the opposite direction from Montclair, you have to exit into Arlington. So I ask you, if Montclair is closed, how will that increase traffic? Seems to me it may decrease it. I know, yeah, Pat, I got you.
No, you got more to go?
No, that's it.
Thank you. I'll move to close the meeting.
Second.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Minogue?
Yes.